Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have for you. While everybody plans for the Cointucky Derby, that's right, the spot Bitcoin ETFs that are going to be approved hopefully in the next 9 days or less. We also are planning for this in 2024, and I think it's going to be a great year in front of us, but we have challenges, ladies and gentlemen. Will we see a recession, a depression, or a U.S. dollar collapse? Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.74 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. The market is up 0.1%. Happy New Year to everyone. Happy 2024. I do believe 2024 will be a very different year for all of us, especially over the last 4.5, 5 years, what we've all been through. But with that being said, we have to go into this new year willing to look at all of the things, the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, everything that come with it. And we're going to try to touch on that today and where we are. 42,600 plus for Bitcoin right now and 2298 and change for Ethereum. Tether market cap is 91.5 billion plus. Number 6 spot is XRP at 61 cents, off by 0.5% on 24-hour, off by 3.1 on the 7-day. Looking at the range of price very quickly, it's ranging between 0.6081 on the bottom and 0.6245 on the top. We're sitting about smack dab in the middle as usual. And link to, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't done it, over 600,000 people have already. And you can too, because they're bringing private equity investment opportunities to everyone. You need to click the link underneath the video, sign up and register to get started. It is that simple. They have the best, most affordable minimums on the planet, bar none. Not a selling point. It's a fact, Jack. This is so easy to get access to early equity in companies before they have some kind of a public exit. And let me tell you, 2024 is shaping up to be an IPO kind of year. Circle talking about IPOing in 2024. Link2 themselves talking about a 2024 IPO. Ripple was talking about it. Seemed to push it off now, but it might be for posturing and to negotiate the last final stage of this case as well. So we can't write that off. Lots of great things happening if you just click the link underneath the video to the sponsor Link2 and check them out for yourself. Well, RFK Jr., who is really, I tell you, I have a lot of respect for this man and the way he calls the government out on their actions. I tell you, he expressed shock over the U.S. government dropping charges against FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried. He accused government of corruption, questioning the rationale behind dismissing charges involving a substantial sum. Oh, and I'll go on to finish the thought. They decided not to prosecute him on campaign fraud and campaign charges for donating all the money to politicians because it would get the politicians hung up too. That's why. Then we have this here. We're still in the first inning. Digitizing commerce is much bigger opportunity than digitizing communications of the internet and the way that went. Take a quick listen to this quick clip here. You're going to love this. Shout out to Ray Fuentes and Linda P. Jones for this one.
Yeah, well, Ripple, of course, you would want to look at who is going to be a market leader in the future. Anytime I look at investing in stocks, I want to know who's going to have the number one or number two company in the space. So when the technology for XRP was created, according to David Schwartz, they looked around and they said, this is phenomenal technology. What is the biggest thing, the biggest use case, the biggest utility that this technology could possibly have out of everything? And they said cross-border payments. And that's what they went after. They also, as you know, are helping governments form central bank digital currencies. When you're investing money at the government level, it doesn't get any bigger than that. It's trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. And that is the most exciting investment opportunity and largest investment opportunity that you can usually think of too, is at the government level. Matthew Lemerle says we are moving from having digitized communications back in the 90s to digitizing commerce and currency. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're digitizing commerce and currency right now. And that is a bigger opportunity. That is a bigger opportunity than the internet was.
I tell you, I don't think you could say it any better than Linda said it right there. It is a bigger opportunity than the internet was. And before we get out of here today, we're going to talk about why I think it is that big opportunity. Meanwhile, we're watching the Cointucky Derby. That's right. Spot crypto ETFs will create institutional products that can be traded by institutions that don't need to touch the base assets. This will enhance liquidity and attract more pension funds, insurance firms, and other institutional investors to crypto. And I say Cointucky Derby because I got it from this Forbes article that was sent to me here. And it says it's going to be a wild. Goldman Sachs suddenly joins the Bitcoin ETF Cointucky Derby with huge 2024 Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and crypto price prediction. It goes on to talk about that there could be huge benefits and obviously huge liquidity demand for these assets, right? And a huge buy side going through 2024 into 2025 because you're going to see the opening of these approvals should we get them in the next 10 days or less. And if that happens, you're going to see a huge buy side come in from an area of investors that have not dared to have access to the asset or exposure to the asset, I should say, right? So this is very big. But while that's going on, we have other things to think about. Let's just take a note of these couple things before we get into the next few pieces of news here. But I want to remind everybody, XRP is nearing a significant milestone with almost 5 million holders showcasing its growing popularity in cryptocurrency. The total XRP held in these accounts is a staggering 59 billion plus. It says highlighting the extensive adoption and usage of digital assets. That is great news. And we also know that most of those holders are outside of the US because of the case that's been looming over top of Ripple and XRP, the digital asset. Ali Martinez, a famous on-chain sleuth, identifies massive whale activity surrounding XRP. Whales have bought over 360 million XRP in the last week alone, which equals nearly $223 million. Come on in. Somebody's bullish on XRP, are they? And meanwhile, we have Ripple partner HSBC to advance digital currency and CBDC pilots in Hong Kong. Now we're starting to get into where we're really going today. And I want to let you know, recession, depression, or US dollar collapse. We're going to talk about that a little bit, but I have a clip that's going to be in the Freedom Zone. And I have to do it in the Freedom Zone because of copyright issues. But I show it in the Freedom Zone. I highly encourage everybody to join the Freedom Zone to see the rest of that point being made in there. But we will get to that as CBDC pilots are moving in Hong Kong. And then we see here HSBC also said the biggest hurdle in the retail CBDC adoption is getting people to want to use it. What a great point. How can you convince people that these are essentially CBDCs he's speaking about, good for you as a consumer? How do you get people to use it because you know it's cheaper, more efficient, better going forward? That was the point of this little clip that he had here. Well, stay with me. Remember the BRICS coalition? Well, the following countries have officially joined BRICS. As we talked about and discussed, the 5 important ones here on the list: United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, Egypt, and Iran. And with that, 80% of the world's oil production now is inside of the BRICS coalition, ladies and gentlemen. United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, all are a part of the OPEC oil deal, the petrodollar agreement. In return for U.S. military protection, they're supposed to trade oil in U.S. dollars exclusively. Well, that ain't happening no more. And I've been reporting on that for quite some time now. With that understanding, what is taking place? Well, U.S. oil production, in response to that, I believe, is now reached an all-time high in 2023 with 13.5 million barrels a day. As far as I'm concerned, this is in direct response to the members of the BRICS coalition now joining there. The U.S. exported more oil than the other OPEC member directly to Saudi Arabia. Think of it for a moment. Think of this. We're talking about unwinding the very petrodollar agreement that elevates the status of the US dollar, the fiat currency, as a world reserve currency, what gives its glow, right? But now all of a sudden, we're producing more oil than ever before, all-time high in production, because we know that they are unwinding the petrodollar agreement, but no one's talking about it publicly. The U.S. government's not acknowledging it, right? This is why I believe when you hear about central bank digital currencies and stable coins, these are so important. This is why I believe that legislation is even more important, that it doesn't infringe on our rights when they come out with this digital money and legislation for it. You know, this just isn't about crypto and digital assets and having access to them. Stable coins and central bank digital currencies aren't just about getting the countries and governments up to speed with new technology. Yes, that's a very real thing. But you've missed the plot if that's all you think it is. This isn't as simple as just keeping up with technology, ladies and gentlemen. CBDCs, digital government-issued dollars, central bank digital currencies, stable coins, privately issued money that is supposed to be prudentially regulated, backed 1-to-1 or to a surplus. If we're really watching the petrodollar agreement unwinding in front of us, then we are about to see the US dollar go through hyperinflation. And it might be just that with the issuance, the proper legislation and prudential regulation of CBDCs and stablecoins that don't infringe on the privacy rights of the people that use it, that cannot have their money turned off simply because. If we can get past those characteristics of the design of this money, this digital money, let's have a conversation right now about this. The unwinding of the petrodollar agreement, the hyperinflation of the dollar. We already see dumping of U.S. Treasury bonds by BRICS coalition members, choosing to trade in their own currencies. There's a transition period I see moving in front of us here. Imagine the actual paper dollar in your pocket going into hyperinflation. And let's say it's $1 today for the sake of this conversation. But let's say it's 50 cents tomorrow. Now it takes 2 of those paper dollars to buy the same thing for $1. However, if the prudential regulation and legislation's done right on a stable coin and CBDC issuance in countries, you would be incentivized, now wouldn't you? You wouldn't be so confused at how you would get these citizens of these different countries to use these stable coins or CBDCs, because they would be guaranteed to be worth the value. Instead of you having to do 2-to-1 because of hyperinflation of the dollars in your pocket, you could choose to buy the stable coin, which is always going to be $1, or the CBDC, where it will be backed properly. If I have this right from where I'm sitting, this is how you not only move the cattle and the masses, all of us, into digital money. Because not only is it more efficient, faster, and cheaper, but it's guaranteed. Because you're moving us from the fiat system to an asset-backed system. And the only way to really do that, in my eyes, is to begin to unwind the petrodollar agreement, introduce digital dollars, CBDC, stablecoins, and otherwise, and people over time will really be forced by the circumstances and the value of the dollars in their pocket to switch to a stablecoin dollar where it makes more sense to have the full value at hand. That's what I see coming here. And the stablecoin issuance can work in another manner as well, where it can help soak up the extra printed dollars and treasury bonds around the world. Because if every bank and every private institution has the freedom to create a stable coin, they will be required to hold 1-to-1 or a surplus. And if there's hyperinflation, they're going to have to hold 2-to-1 to be even, right? Or whatever that number may be. So as we see a new demand, a new creation for demand of treasury bonds and dollars with the issuance of private stable coins, I can see that helping to soak up all of these dollars that are being pushed back to us. At the same time, while remedying the fact that the dollars in your pocket may be worth half or less, and then you have an option to have a digital dollar that's worth exactly that, $1. Maybe I'm crazy, but I am excited about 2024, and I think 2024 is going to be a very different year for all of us than it has been for the last 4+. But that doesn't mean it won't have hurdles. It doesn't mean that it won't have challenges. And those challenges only get harder if we're afraid to look at the entire situation in front of us. And that's where we are on this day. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. I hope you will join me. Click the link and join me in the Freedom Zone, where we're going to show you the other side of this conversation. You're going to want it. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.